My name is Danielle, and this is Trying Matters. If you're looking for a no BS type podcast, this is it. I'm here to help make life fun and interesting and learn right alongside you how to be brave enough to go against the grain. Here, we'll be talking about real challenges and fears that are holding us women back from living our lives to the fullest. So let's shake things up a bit and actually start trying. All right, guys, welcome back to Trying Matters. It is episode 6, and boy, am I excited. I mean, y'all know I'm typically excited, but today I am just amped up, so pumped because I, again, like there's just some days where things just feel so aligned, and today is one of those days, okay? Today's topic is self care. And what it is, what it isn't, why it's important, and how we can incorporate it into our lives. So, first of all, I don't know about you, but when I think of self care, the first thing I think of is a spa day. Or, girl, we going on a trip. Where we going? All of these things that like cost a ton of money. So I'm getting a facial, I'm getting a massage, I'm getting my nails done, self care. And I'm not saying like that's not self care, but sometimes I think we overthink this concept of self care and we go for like a surface level version of self care. And the thing that I've learned about self care is like sometimes it can be that, but then other times it's other things. So that's really what I want to talk about is not necessarily those surface level things like, pampering yourself, which is like I said, it's great. And don't get me wrong, I love me a good spa day. I love going to get a massage. I love getting my nails done, my hair done, everything. I love it all. And that is a different level of self-care. Um but the self care that I really want to talk about is the one that I think a lot of people are kind of like venturing into, but not everybody's on board with it just yet. So, like I said, in the past, I feel like everybody's first thought was like self care costs money. In order for you to take good care of yourself, you are doing things like getting your physical body taken care of in like a pampered type of way, or you're getting out of Dodge. Like we are going on a trip, we're going to the beach for a weekend, or we're going to the mountains to get away, kind of like a retreat. And again, I fully support those things, love all of that. And I do think that that is a very big, important part of self care when it's the right time. Um, the more simple self care is kind of, like I said, what we're going to focus on today. So, in my personal opinion, and what I am honing in on with this self care concept today is those little things. Like, for example, something like you're doing right now. This is a personal development type podcast. So, if you're listening to this kind of counts as a little bit of self care. You're opening your mind to growth and new ideas and further learning about yourself and maybe trying some new things and really digging deeper in on like who you are and maybe some things that you want to improve on. Same thing with like reading personal development books. That's kind of like where I started with some of my quote unquote self care, which actually my self care totally truly started when I started working out, which that's another example I'll get to in a second. So, self improvement like podcasts or books or something like that. The reason why I like to call that self care is because, like I said, you're learning a little bit more about yourself. You're challenging, I am this way, but maybe let me open my mind up to these other concepts and ideas that may be helpful to me, may help me grow as a person and then be more helpful to those around me, or, may help me create more of a life that I love and feel fulfilled in. So, self care example number one of, like I said, simple self care, listening to self improvement podcasts or reading a self improvement type of book. Um, Other simple things that I like, and I just mentioned this a second ago, moving my body. Y'all, you would not, if you are somebody who doesn't do a lot of physical activity, you would be amazed at the amount of just like relief and clarity that you get from just moving your body a little bit. Me personally, and like I can get on the health and wellness train and ride that train all the way to the station and back. Like I never used to be somebody who was like, go to the gym, work out. I never thought that I would be a person that worked out multiple times a week. That was not anywhere on my radar. When I was in high school, I danced and like that was my thing, but I never considered that in the same block as like self-care, and I never considered it as like a workout. I was just like, this is what I do, this is what I love, this is who I am, that's that. And like I said, working out was not me. When I started that, that's when my entire life just kind of shifted. It sounds dramatic, but bear with me. I started doing these workouts that were like 20 minutes, 30 minutes a day, ventured out into like the 45-minute range here and there. And that time that I gave myself was a challenge to myself. It was full of positivity because the workouts that I was doing had a trainer who was, explaining this is how you do the move. This is where you should feel it. This is the correct form. And while you're doing it, like give yourself grace. And, you know, you're a first timer. If you're a first timer, awesome. Like the positivity that these trainers were giving me was self care for me. I was taking 20 to 30 minutes a day away from, at the time I was in grad school, away from studying and away from the chaos that was, young adult life. I was living with my parents at the time. I was trying to get out in the dating world. COVID happened. I was going through these like shifts through my friendships and like trying to figure out like where I was in this weird transition period of like, I'm out of college, but I'm in grad school. And now I'm living back with my parents. And all of those stressors were just kind of like pushing in on me. But those 20 to 30 minutes, man, that was just me and that trainer and whoever else was on the cast doing this workout, challenging ourselves and listening to the positivity that was coming out of the mouths of these trainers. And just that little bit of time was enough to like keep me focused in on what my goal was. I got to finish school. I have a lot to balance on my plate. I was working. And like I said, I was going through this whole new transition period. The 20 to 30 minutes that I gave myself was opening me up to bigger growth and learning how to make time to care for me and just me, because I was literally caring for my physical body, which then turned into caring for my mental state and then so on and so forth. So, a very simple example of giving yourself self care, doing like a 30-minute, 20 to 30-minute form of movement, even if that's just going for a walk. Y'all, being outside in the sun does so many great things for you. If you're very pale like me and burn easily, make sure you bring some sunblock. I have a whole bag of sunblock in my car for that reason exactly. That's a new thing. I haven't always done that. It just so happens that I put it in there because I was going for a walk in the sunshine the other day and I needed it. So now I think I'm going to keep it in there. So accidental win in a way, always prepared until the sunscreen melts. Then we have a problem. But we'll deal with that another day. So, getting out in the sunshine, wear your sunscreen. And moving out in the sunscreen. Y'all, my mind is on sunscreen now. Okay. Getting yourself out in nature, in the sunshine, or even if it's a rainy day, girl, snaps. If you love a good, let me sit out on the back porch. If you got a rocking chair, let me know what rocking chair you got and where you got it, because I need one for myself. Rocking on the patio, listening to the rain and watching it fall. Oh, one of my favorite times of year is coming up. Summertime. The good little like 10-minute summertime rains. Let's be real, actually, it's more like 5-minute rain showers in the summer. I love that. Because then the next thing you know, the sun's out again, and you're like, wow, this weather just changed like my daily emotions. I can relate, Mother Nature. I can relate. Anyway, so nature, moving your body, sunshine, rain, all the things. Those are these little moments that we can take just even like 5 minutes to ourselves to just be where our feet are. And the movement that we're doing also, that's self-care, y'all. That's not expensive to do. You can look up a workout on freaking YouTube and voila, there you go. Or you can just step outside on your back porch or your front patio or your balcony if you got one of those and enjoy the sunshine or the rain or whatever it is. Anyway, simple self-care things. So, another one that I just did, and if you're watching on YouTube, that's why my face is kind of red. A dance party. Y'all, again, this is body movement, but also, so my friend sent me this thing that she saw on Instagram, I think, an Instagram reel. She sent it to me and it was a girl like jamming in her car, which if that's you listening in your car and you about to have a jam out session before and or after this, well, if you would have had it before, never mind. That's besides the point. Jam out sessions to songs of our like teenage years it's like therapeutic. It's like nostalgia. I forget what it is. It's something nostalgia. Um, but it like gives us this like rush of like feel good hormones or something like that is what it was saying. I don't know. I'm not an expert in that, but a jam out sesh in your car where you act like you're freaking Beyonce or Taylor Swift or whoever your person is, like that is therapeutic. That is self care. You are moving your body. You are just taking it a moment to just let it out and feel. Also, like, y'all ever just belted out, like screamed a song when you were just like super upset or like super excited or just whatever it may be? I totally did that the other day. I was driving across this really long bridge. If you're from the greater New Orleans area, the Causeway, had my music up way too loud, totally unsafe for my hearing, but putting aside the SLP in me there for a second, and totally just like it was bad for my vocal cords too. Don't recommend screaming all the time. It's really bad for your voice. Again, the SLP in me. But y'all ever just belt out the song and you're like, this is so therapeutic. Like that's self-care, okay? And your drive could be 5 minutes around a corner to go pick up your kid, or it could be 30 minutes to go to work like mine is. And you just scream your songs and do your little dance party, have a concert in there. That is self-care. That is therapeutic. Having a jump around dance party when you have no window coverings like me, girl, you exposing yourself, but you are having a blast, and that is self-care. You feel it, you do it, you get it out, you're taking care of you. It's what you want to do. That's ultimately what this comes down to. Like me, these are the examples that I like super vibe with. So if I'm feeling like, ooh, I want a self-care day where I just go sit alone in a coffee shop and have me a little Americano by myself and just sit in that ambiance. I love a good ambiance. Snap if you're with me, you're listening to this in your car and you're like, "Yes, that is me. Let me just go sit in this different space and feel like the setting that's around me. How does it make me feel? What do I like about it? What do I dislike about it?" And just getting out of your comfort zone, going by yourself and like having that time to yourself, self-care. And that coffee that you got, sip on it, live it, be it, feel it, like that first sip feeling, like Starbucks always says. So freaking true. If you're a coffee girl like me, man, that first sip, the way it just like fills your body and you're like, ooh, it's warm. Unless you're an iced coffee person, maybe whatever, do your thing. But like it just feel what it feels like and what experiences you get being present in that moment. What does it taste like? What are the smells? What music is playing? What do you hear? What do you see? What do you taste? All of that. Like just being present. That's self-care right there. And if it's something that you really love, you're giving back to yourself. So hobbies, I just like stumbled on that. But like that's my next point is if we're doing the things that we enjoy, we're like turning off that productivity part. We're like, okay, I'm productive like however many hours out of the day. I have responsibilities, I have work, I have to maintain my household. If you're a mom, I have kids to take care of. If you're a wife, you have a husband or a wife or somebody that you are, having to build a relationship with and maintain. Like you have a lot of roles and you have a lot of responsibilities. When we do things like hobbies, we are doing something that lights us up, gets us excited, and truly fulfills us. And then we can turn off that productivity just for a little while and just be present with those things that really excite us and make us happy and enjoy it. And that's self-care right there. So, with that part being said, the reason why we need this, y'all, like it is so important. I don't know if anybody else, actually, correction, I know other women get this little monster. The little monster that comes out, you like unzip and you're like, ah, and you start freaking out about everything. You start like when you're hangry, like me, if I haven't eaten, oh, I'm not a good person to be around. Or like if I've just had multiple bad things happen, I try not to let the bad things ruin a whole day. I used to, but sometimes it just adds up and you're just like, oh, I just need a break. That angry monster comes out and you're just like a terror. Self care. The answer to that is self care. Okay, so again, I'm going to take it back to when I started truly like giving myself time to just be and incorporating self care into my day to day. It was when I started doing workouts. And like I said, I had a whole bunch of stuff going on being in grad school, living with my parents again after moving out, transitions and like friendships and all relationships with significant others and like all kinds of things going on. But the 20 to 30 minutes that I was giving myself, like that was my self-care, and it kind of decreased the monster that would come out on those days where I was just like so overwhelmed that I felt like I couldn't deal with it. It was like, okay, let's take a step back from all of the responsibilities, all of the craziness, and get it out. I'm going to get it out in another way because yelling was not effective for me. Throwing a tantrum was not effective for me. Being mean to the people that I was around, oh, not effective. Not effective. Way more damaging than good. I mean, you don't want to hold in all of the things that you're feeling, but you also don't want to explode all of them onto those around you that you care about, which leads me into you have to take care of yourself in order to be a better version of yourself for those that you care about. So for me, if I don't get still to this day, if I don't get my workout in, I am a much less pleasant person. And I start to get the overwhelm from, my to-do list or, if my schedule is really loaded with activities and events, even if it's things that I'm excited to do and I'm enjoying, like timing, I'm always worried about the timing working out and trying to stay in control. And when I take a step back and I have that time during my workout, it gives me that clarity and I'm like, okay, I can relax now. I can take a step back, let it go for a little bit and then come back to it with a different view because I gave myself that time to take a break when I did my self-care. And then I can be better to those around me. So rather than lashing out at my husband when I'm freaking out and I haven't had a time to myself, I can go take that into my workout, let it go, or take it into my walk around my neighborhood, let it go, and then I can come back and not be a total asshole to him or not take it out on my friend who just told me that our plans fell through because of XYZ. Not adding any of you guys, by the way, just giving a random example. So, all of my friends that are probably nitpicking, you know who you are, not name calling any of y'all. Just throwing that in there. So, being kind to others. And it also gives you a time to like process what's going on with you. So, like, if we're just constantly go, 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 and we don't take time to just decompress and to like process our thoughts and our feelings, we're going to constantly be beating ourselves up and being mean to ourselves and not truly appreciating all that we do for ourselves and others and everything. And we're just kind of like, I'm just this robot going through the day to day, and there's nothing that I truly enjoy anymore because I'm constantly going and I didn't give myself a minute to just be today. We take it out on others, we take it out on ourselves, and it's not a good cycle. It gets bad. Um and you want to be the best version of yourself for others that you have to help take care of. So like those moms out there that are like so busy. First off, I have no idea what it's like to be a mom. I just have slight ideas from my own mom and some of my friends who are new moms. I know y'all have so many things to juggle. I don't know how y'all do it. I hope to one day experience it and look to you guys and say, "Hey, help please." But at this current moment, I know y'all have so much going on, but don't you want to be the best version of yourself for your little ones? And I know sometimes it's hard to get that little self-care time every day or even just a little while because you are that primary person for those kids. Or if you're a caretaker of grandparents or, your parents or something, that's really tough to like step away and get away for a little bit to take care of yourself. But it is so important. And even if you do a little bit, you can be that best version of yourself for those people that you have to take care of. I know working in a hospital, and anybody in healthcare can probably attest to this, snaps to it if you're with me here. Um, those family members that are there morning to night through the night with their family members, props to them. I love that they do that, but I always hope that they're giving themselves some time, like sleep, even. Sleep is so important for your self care. Like, I want to do a whole episode on sleep, so I'm not going to dive into that. I need to write that down. Actually, I'm going to actively write this down while I am on camera. An episode on sleep. Okay. So real with y'all. um, so if they're not well rested or they're not, taking a break from that reality, they can't be 100% with those people. And like I said, that is easier said than done. But even just 5 minutes to themselves to just let it go, get out of that environment, get out of that role for a little while can be what makes the biggest difference in them caring for that family member that's in the hospital or that child that you have as a mom. Like I said, I know it's tough, but imagine being the best, 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 best version of you because you've taken care of yourself and you've filled your cup. You can't pour from an empty cup. Here is the cup. You got to fill it up in order for you to give it to your little ones and your family members. So keep that in mind. When you start unraveling and that monster comes out, maybe let's take a step back and realize, when's the last time I gave myself self-care? Which is another reason why I think self-care is so important, because the more you do it, the more in touch you get with yourself to realize, okay, that monster's coming out a little bit more frequently. Now I'm realizing this is the time where I need to go do my walk. This is a time where I need to go sit and read that book for a little while. I read, 10 pages and then I can go back to doing what it is. I've been trying to get myself into reading, trying to teach myself patience by doing that. It's a work in progress, I will say that. But those of you who love to read, that's your self-care right there. Like, take a step away and do something that you enjoy. And you can do that and then, realize, okay, I haven't done that in a while. Maybe that's what I need. Maybe that's why I've been so snappy lately. I haven't given myself the time to do something that I enjoy for my self-care. So realizing, when it's happening and that could be the thing that will change the course of how the day is going or change how you're reacting in a situation because you're giving yourself that time to Woosah before you lash out irrationally. That's a quote from Santa Claus. Um, it also helps you understand others more. So by learning your things that are kind of causing you to, let that monster out is what I'm going to keep calling it. And realizing, okay, this is a sign that I need to take a break and do my self-care. You can have that level of understanding for others. So once I started, incorporating self-care into my life, I started to kind of realize, oh, maybe I shouldn't be a jerk to that lady who just cut me off on the road. Anybody else gets super angry at that? It happens to me all the time. And now that I've been a little bit more in tune with like taking care of myself, I'm like, maybe she's having a really bad day. Or there's this other podcast I had to listen to, and I just think this is so funny. I think it all the time. When somebody's going really fast on the interstate, he said, well, what if they just have to poop? And ever since I thought about that perspective, I'm like, holy crap, literally. That dude probably just has to shit. And maybe that's why he's speeding. Or like maybe this is really sad, but like maybe there's an emergency, like his kid just got in a car accident or something. Like, you're okay, I understand why you're speeding. It gives you that other perspective where you're kind of like, oh yeah, been there. Like putting yourself in that person's shoes, like, oh, I know that when I haven't done my self-care, I start getting really angry on the road too. Like, I can understand where they're coming from. I don't need to be angry now at this person because they may be needing to do some self-care and maybe they're going through it and they don't know about self-care or they don't know how to take care of things simply, and they think self-care is, super expensive. And then you can kind of be someone to help them with that, or just in general, like I said, being more understanding and not getting so caught up in like, oh, somebody offended me and now I'm mad. Like, that you have those moments and you take your time to decompress. They may not be doing that, so you can be a little bit less judgmental and you can be a little bit more understanding and kind in those situations. And then another thing, you learn who you are when you take self-care into consideration. You actually start implementing it, and you can be your truest version of yourself, your most expressed version, your most comfortable version of you. You're not as scared to be true to your heart. I was just listening to that a second ago and I was typing up my little notes for this episode, and I literally put LOL for real. But seriously, like, if you're giving yourself time to do the things that you enjoy and to get away from being that productive, go, 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 I'm taking time for myself, even if it's just 5 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it may be, you become more in tune with yourself. And I actually was having a conversation with one of my friends the other day, and I was like, honestly, like, what do you love about yourself? And what do you enjoy? What is something that you truly enjoy? And the reason why I was asking her that was because, like, maybe even a year ago, honestly, part of the reason why I started this whole podcast, I didn't have a hobby. I really didn't. And I was finding myself like sitting at home waiting for my husband to come home so that I could have something to entertain myself with. Like, not that he's just there for my, like, not to be lonely, but I really had nothing else that I would do. I would come home from work, I would do my workout, and then I would sit on the couch and watch Netflix and just wait for him to come home. And I was not getting anything out of that, which is why at one point I had leaned so much into, the community that I had with Body. I was doing workouts with the program that I do workouts with. There's a community and we all do workouts together and do personal development and all that. I leaned really far into that and I got so much from it and it taught me so much from it. But I had no other hobbies. So I leaned into, socializing. I love socializing. I leaned into moving my body and my nutrition. All that stuff interests me. But at some point I just kind of like fell off of it. And I realized after, I was like, I don't know what I like to do. I don't know what makes me me, and I don't know how to be me. I don't know what my strengths and my weaknesses are. I don't know what makes me like super joyous other than spending time with other people. And that's great, but you don't always have people around. So it really is important to understand like what you truly value, who you are, and what brings you joy. Because if you're not doing those things, what is this life that you're living? You're straight up going through the motions and you could be enjoying life so much more just by doing one simple thing. Like it's not rocket science. Like it's not this crazy concept that's so hard to wrap your mind around. It really is a simple concept. No, it's not always easy to do, but that one little thing could drastically change your perspective on life. It could change your attitude towards yourself and others. It can change how you go through your day to day and just your overall demeanor just by that one little bit of time of you taking care of yourself and doing something you truly enjoy. You learn more about yourself, you understand yourself more, and then you can answer that question of, who am I? You don't know who you are, then you can't be giving yourself to anybody else. If you're not filling your cup, you can't be giving yourself to anybody else. And that's exactly what we do every day, whether you believe it or not. We interact with other humans every single day. So you want to be the best version of yourself every day, and you want to know who you are. You want to appreciate and love yourself. If you're not appreciating and loving yourself, you need to sit and ask yourself those questions. And that's your self-care, baby. Reflection. Sometimes that's all it is. It doesn't have to be hard. We make it out to be a lot harder than it is, but it can be simple. It can be a walk. It can be just sitting and looking at the rain. It can be reading your favorite book. Those things make a difference on our day to day, and they make the mundane much better. They make our lives so much more fulfilling and joyous and just great. Um, there was one other point that I wanted to make. Let me just look at my notes. Y'all know I'll always be looking at my notes because I want to make sure I get all of my thoughts out because I have a lot. I have a lot of thoughts. Um, And oh, this last point about why self care is important. And I know I am like going, but I'm fired up about this. Um, it teaches you how to put yourself first. And that is something that I feel like is very hard. It is very hard for me. And again, snaps, if you are at home washing your dishes, listen to this and you're like, whoo, I don't know how to put myself first. I don't know how to say no. Is that you? Let me hear a snap if it is. Teaching yourself how to not feel guilty about being a little bit selfish. And the reason why this is such a big one, in my opinion, is we do a lot of service for others. And that is great. That is so important. And I will never say, like, stop doing things for other people. No, we get so much joy and fulfillment out of that as human beings. Like, community is what we seek. Whether you want to believe it or not, it is part of our human nature. So, sometimes we have to put ourselves first, like I said, in order to be that better version for those people that you are serving. It is important. You need to understand that you have needs. You have basic fundamental needs that need to be met in order for you to be the best version of yourself. And self care does that. It teaches you how to put yourself first sometimes, how to understand. And, it stops you from getting as burnt out because you're taking a step back and you're not just mustering through. You're giving yourself that little bit of a break and teaching you how to say no. Sometimes you got to say no, even though you want to go hang out with your friends and your family and you have work on the weekend. I'm talking to me and anybody out there who has multiple jobs and long distance relationships with family and friends and all of that. Talking to you. Sometimes you gotta say no just because you just need a day to do what you need to do. You know what I'm saying? Just to self care. Doesn't have to be a whole day though. So that's the next thing that I'm going to talk about here is ways to incorporate your self care. So if you were somebody who was like, I really need to do this, but oh my gosh, like I don't even know where to start with that, I'm going to give you a starting point. 30 minutes, 2 times a week. Start there. If that is way too much for you, 10 minutes, twice a week. The reason why I say twice a week is likely you're probably going to miss it one day, so give yourself another day. And when we're habit building, we don't want to go 0 to 100. You're not trying to do 40 minutes every day. Like, no. No, 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 no. Let's baby step it. If you are not somebody who is already doing some form of self-care, find something that you want to be your self-care. Is it a walk? Is it reading a chapter of your favorite book? Is it cooking a meal that you don't normally cook during the week? Is it painting? If you're watching right now, I just painted my walls. I'm trying to figure out what color I am using. And boy, was it invigorating to just take that paintbrush and just splatter paint everywhere. That was part of my self-care today. I just literally was like, I'm picking a color today. I'm painting the wall and I don't care that it has multiple colors all over it. Well, we're figuring this out. And it just felt so good. Like it was a freeing feeling because somebody that's a rule follower like me, girl, that paintbrush on there was like, I'm breaking the rules. I feel like a badass. It was great. So, figuring out what it is that you want to do for your self care, picking a day, say, all right, Tuesday after work, I am taking 30 minutes to do something for me. And I do want to also put this in here because as somebody who does this all the time and always just feels so meh after, if y'all listen to this podcast, y'all know me and social media, we got a love-hate relationship. There's some great things on there. There are some awful things on there. Overall, I'm not the biggest fan. So please don't make your self-care scrolling on social media for 30 minutes. And don't make your self-care sitting and watching Netflix for 30 minutes. Do something that truly is time with yourself. And reading, I'm kind of like on the fence about too, because you're getting lost in another reality. And I really, truly feel like the power in self care comes from truly being present where your feet are with yourself and feeling and thinking the thoughts and the feels that are in your head and what you're truly experiencing, to let go of those things, to face them. And when we just turn off one reality and turn on another one by putting on Netflix or doom scrolling on social media or diving into a book when all we do is dive into books all the time, like just be careful with that. I don't think it's a great idea for us to, ditch one reality for another. It's not necessarily working on us. I think really try to do something, like I said, where you can get away from that reality, do something you enjoy. But we all enjoy sitting and vegging out. Maybe sit and veg out listening to a song or reading something that helps you, think introspectively, or you're learning something new or something like that rather than just disappearing into a different reality. That's what I always find myself doing when I'm on social media. First off, you don't know how long you're on there because next thing you know, it's been an hour and now you're going, oh my gosh, so and so had a kid and this person got married and this person just started this new job and she got to talk at this thing and I didn't get to go talk at that thing. I'm jealous now. And then you turn into this little home where you're just like flustered or jealous or angry or whatever it may be. And then Netflix, or if you want to sit down and make movie time a thing that's structured, all right, it's movie night. We're having popcorn. We're getting the candy. We're doing movie night and we're locked in on a movie. That's different than just vegging out, binge watching Netflix and not really giving yourself time to be present with yourself. To me, that's two different things. So I'm going to encourage you to, not go into, what did I call it earlier? I called it the spiral of unrealistic expectations. The spiral of unrealistic expectations, because we dive into that other reality that's on the TV or in the phone. And then next thing you know, we're expecting our reality to be like that. And then we go back to our reality and we're like, my reality sucks. When it truly doesn't suck. We've just seen a different reality that somebody else has cultivated very carefully. And now we kind of wish that that was our life. Do we see the problem there? I do. I hope you do too. So find something that is truly self care, reflective, and being present where your feet are, feeling the things around you, thinking the thoughts, feeling the feels, all of that. So we can grow and we can get something truly deeply from this time, which is why, something like only 5 minutes or 10 minutes is gonna be valued. It doesn't have to be an hour, it doesn't have to be a full day. If you can take a full day, by all means, take a full day. But if you don't have that and you only have 5 to 10 minutes, make that 5 to 10 minutes worth it, Don't waste it scrolling on social media. Don't waste it watching something you've watched 1,000 times. Make sense? And then start small. So if you only have 5 minutes twice a week, 5 minutes twice a week, 30 minutes twice a week. That one day off of work you take you take 40 minutes out, whatever it may be. Find your amount of time, try it for 2 days a week, and then build from there. Did I hit that goal? By the end of the week? No, I didn't. Okay, so let's try again. We'll try it again this week, and so on and so on. And then once you hit that goal a few weeks in a row, then you feel like, I'm noticing this is really helping me, which means then you can add it in more. And again, it doesn't have to be a lot of time, but that little bit, even if you start increasing the amount of days that you do it, it is helpful. It makes all the change in the world. So I hope that makes sense. The biggest thing that I want you guys to get from this is you are important, and it is important to give yourself time to just be with yourself. It cultivates a better understanding of who you are, what brings you joy, and what makes you, you, which then you can bring to the world, which we all need a little bit more of you. That was so cheesy, but it feels so good to say. Okay, that is episode 6. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for listening in, and go do some self-care, girl. Let's go. Always. All right, I'll talk to y'all next time. Bye. Thank you so much for listening in. I hope you got a little inspiration to start taking steps towards whatever it is you've been wanting to try. If you love this episode, share it on socials and tag me. I'd love to hear how it helped you. And of course, we got to get the word out to the other women who are needing that little extra push like you and I do. Can't wait to talk to you soon.